Hey, Travel Brats. Happy Travel Brat Tuesday. It's Soph coming to you from the studio, and I am back with Miss Ella Parlor. Hey, Ella.
Hi, Sophia.
Hey, and we're super excited, you guys, because we're going to tell you a really funny, most memorable travel story. I love this series. It always gives me just a good chuckle and a fun time. So, Ella, tell us about your most memorable travel story.
Well, I don't know if it's like super, I mean, it's funny to me, but I feel like it's a downer when people hear it for the first time. So brace yourself for that. But I think the funniest trip I ever did was going on my honeymoon by myself. So 2 months before I married the love of my life, or so I thought, I found out that he wasn't the man I thought he was. And if you've ever been married, Sophia, you just got married not too long ago. Tell me this, like 2 months before your wedding, what's done?
Oh my gosh. I guess everything was supposed to be done, but it wasn't for me. But everyone else has everything done. So we'll go with that. We'll go with A.
Oh my gosh, wait, you had some delays on the wedding situation?
Oh, girl, that's another most memorable story. My wedding planner quit 8 days before my wedding, but that's a story for another day. But
Oh
yes,
my
to
gosh.
answer your question in the politically correct way, I had everything done.
Well, and you know what? I'm really sad to hear that your wedding planner canceled and on you, but I think that's like slightly better than like your groom canceling on you, which is kind of what happened to
Oh,
me. It was like, bro, I mean, I don't want to say he canceled, but it was canceled. It was very canceled, but it was such a painful time, and
mm,
there was so much going on. It's a pretty isolating experience. I always say like there are all these blogs online about how to get married and how to plan your wedding and how to do invites and blah 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 blah. But there really aren't too many blogs about how to cancel your wedding. Like you get to figure that
mm,
one on your own. And so it was a really difficult time, but the honeymoon was already freaking planned in his name and my name. And if you know anything about flights, you know that once something is booked and confirmed in someone's name, there's really nothing you can do to exchange it. So like his trip, his portion of the trip that my parents had paid for, my mother had paid for, was really just a ticket down the drain. Like I wasn't going to give it to him. Like no, like
right.
goodbye, bygones. But we were supposed to go island hopping in Hawaii. So go to several like multiple islands around
Oh,
Hawaii for our honeymoon. Yeah, it was a surprise from my mom. It was really nice. And so
man.
it was really exciting, and it was going to be like a 2.5 week trip. And instead, what I did was I converted my ticket to a round trip ticket to Australia. And so I decided to go to Australia because in my head I was like, I can't go to Hawaii. Like, there's gonna be a bunch of brides there, and I need to go to a place that's like less romantic. Well, joke
Right.
was on me because I get to the Sydney Opera House. I end up on a sailboat with some friends that I had who were in town. And we're going around the Sydney Opera House. I'll be honest, there was a lot of alcohol consumed on this trip. And I have to say, I was a broken person that was hurting, and I forgive this version of myself, this heartbroken version of myself.
Forgive, forgive. We
We
forgive.
forgive her. But she was a hot ass mess. And so here I am on this beautiful sailboat, sailing around the Sydney Opera House. If you don't know, it's completely surrounded by water. And there was a music festival on the grass. But what I didn't realize was that the Sydney Opera House is like one of the number one attractions for bridal photos.
Oh
So we're
no.
there on a Saturday afternoon, and I'm who knows how many bottles champagne deep on this sailboat, surrounded by 70 brides getting their photos.
Oh my God.
And here I am going, I should be getting married, but I'm not getting married. And so I was like, oh, joke's on me. I did not know that Australia is a bridal, like very much so. It's like the
Wow.
place that brides like to get photographed.
Fun
Is the Sydney
facts.
Opera House. I know, right? Random. But so I was a little belligerent and just like, good luck, love is a lie. Like just not my
I
cue.
love this. This is like a rom-com.
Yeah,
I mean, I
it's
don't love
cute.
your misery,
I
but
was gonna say, yeah, it's like a
I
rom-com,
I
like
get that.
in the sense that you're just glad it's not you. It's like fun to laugh at when it's not your life, but you're just like, yep, that's is like my life. And so I realized I got so pissed off because I'm from Southern California. And so when I land at Sydney, it takes 16 hours to get there. I had like a stop in Hawaii just to say hi to some friends and, make the most of the trip and really to prevent jet lag, which by the way, do a layover overnight in Hawaii on the way to Australia. No jet lag. It like evens you out. It's very nice to do.
Oh.
So I did that and then I get to Australia and when I land in Sydney, I'm like, I just flew 16 hours here. These people speak English. The beaches look like I feel like I'm home. I just flew 16 hours. And then I say to someone, what ocean is this? Like this Bondi Beach. What ocean are we in? Like which one is it? And they're like, Pacific. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me that I just flew 16 hours to be in the same damn ocean in a country where everybody looks like it felt like home. They love SoCal culture in Sydney, the surfing culture. So they have like they're wearing Billabong and Hurley, and I'm like, ooh. And then my girlfriend says, "Well, Sydney is very like SoCal. Let's go up to Cairns." And so I've never told this story publicly, but I have no shame in the poor heartbroken Ella Gay.
No shame. Girl, if I was a man, I'd marry you. Don't
Oh,
you worry. Bygones be bygones. Continue.
but okay, so a little bit about me, right? Like my dad was in the military. I love America. I really feel like I need to preface by saying like I am passionate and I will do anything for Mother America, all right?
I love
So I'm also a certified scuba diver. And so that day, up in Cairns, which is about like a 1 hour flight, it's like going from, Florida to Chicago, not like
Mhm,
too far. It's like a 90-minute flight up north to where the Great Barrier Reef is. And so I went
mhm.
scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef and there were probably 60 of us scuba divers on this ship together, and it was pretty awesome. We end up back at there's this place in Cairns called it's called Gilligan's, and it's
Oh,
a hostel bar, but it's basically the only bar, but it's huge. It's a huge bar, but it's basically the only bar to go to, so everybody goes to this bar. I don't know if it's still open, but it was the place to be. It's also a hostel.
cool.
So we go, and I have a background in mixed martial arts. I grew up doing various martial arts. I love training, I love fighting, and there's a Jello wrestling contest. So I'm like, and the prize was like $500. And I
Ooh,
was like, this is
so
so
you
fun. I've never done this. I'm in a country where no one knows me. Like, let's go, right?
um,
So I sign up and they pair me up against with the woman who had won the night before. So she had like won in the racket, right? So they have
uh-huh.
us go up first. So we go up and I'm in my bathing suit from scuba diving.
Oh
I'm
my
in my
gosh.
bathing suit and it's nighttime. Alcohol was of course consumed and I I'm so excited. I'm like, "Oh." And so when I get into this Jello, it's first of all it's warm, which I did not expect because Jello is usually cold, and it was
Ew.
very like it was more oatmeal than Jello. Like the consistency, it was just like very
Uh,
warm and not fully firm. They did not refrigerate it the 8 hours the box will tell you
how
to.
dare
And you
they?
have to think it was like a trash can full of Jello that they dump out into this kiddie pool. And this is so degrading, but again,
It's
we
so
forgive
funny.
heartbroken Ella. We forgive
We
her.
forgive her.
And
Mhm.
so I get in, they put this little tag around our ankles, and that's how you get the other person out. So it's less about wrestling and more about grabbing like flag football, right? So you want to grab
Okay.
each other's flag. So we're on all fours, and I'm looking at her, and she immediately gets my flag. Like, I didn't realize how slippery the thing was. Again, she had a leg up on me, pun intended. And so she gets my thing really fast, and I'm really sad. Like, it was like so anticlimactic, and I'm just like, it's a crowd of about 800 people, maybe 5 to 800 people, by the way. Like, again, huge bar. The only
800 people.
bar. The only
Oh my
bar.
gosh, this
The
is
only
crazy.
place. And there's a camera above us, like what you have in a boxing ring. So like people are getting like all angles because they're seeing it, but then on the big screen behind us is the aerial view. And it was so anticlimactic, and the whole crowd's like, oh, like how sad. Like it was like so fast. It was over before it began. And so I'm so bummed out and I feel like a loser. I'm like, man, how embarrassing. And then the announcer goes, Ella, where we want to give you a second chance. That was so fast and embarrassing. And I'm like, and my Australian accent is terrible. Let me stop that right now. And so I was like, it was embarrassing. I do want a second chance. And he goes, but you're gonna have to pay something for it. Take off your top.
Oh,
And I'm
no.
like, you have the wrong one. Like, I'm a dignified woman and no. Like I'm classy and you can go screw yourself with that
I'm
one.
not
Thank
going
you.
on your big screen,
Yeah.
big screen.
And then I had a friend in the crowd and she's literally looking like Ella's never gonna do that. And I have to be honest, when I saw her roll her eyes like Ella will never do that, it kind of made me go, you don't know me. You don't know heartbroken Ella. I will show you what she can't do. Like I had this kind of moment. And he goes, Ella, don't walk away. Ella, where are you from? And I was like, America, United States of America. He goes, America. And then I start hearing people in the crowd going, she was on our ship today. She's a scuba diver. She was, people are saying, I could hear people saying that. And
Yeah.
he's like, you guys, I think Ella needs a little bit of encouragement. Will you start chanting USA with me? And so the
Oh
whole
my
crowd goes,
gosh.
USA, USA. And I had to do it for America. I had to. And so the top came off.
Like Mardi Gras Australia version with
I
Jello.
was like, for America, I can't let her down. I can't be the American that walks off the
She's
stage. I
she's my
have a
queen.
reputation to uphold.
Oh my gosh, I am dead. No words. We forgive her.
We forgive her. And okay, so yeah, it happens. I lose again because I mean, it was probably all a racket. That girl probably lived there and she just like would win every night. So the house always wins. Because she was huge. I mean, huge as in muscles, but she knew what she was doing. But I will say, like, the next morning was Thanksgiving in America. So this all
Uh-huh.
occurred. So Australia swaps, winter, summer with us, right? And
Hmm.
so I missed Thanksgiving with my family because I was still heartbroken and I was like, I'm gonna go on this trip and I gotta go discover myself, whatever. So
Yeah.
it's my morning, hungover the next morning after doing this, and my family is at the Thanksgiving dinner table, and I call them and FaceTime them and I tell them this story. Like I tell them the whole story because I was very proud because
That you
I want
defended your country.
I defended Mother America, one, and also I, can have an uptight, rigid type of, we'll say, reputation. And so this is like my in the back pocket, like I have done topless Jello wrestling. I'm cool. Like this is my cool card, and I'm not afraid to pull it, to
I'm
pull it
living a
out.
little.
I'm just really hoping there's no video evidence of this. But no, it was I will say, a very freeing trip. It was incredibly painful, but
Mm.
I'm proud of myself because I think most people in that situation would have just called it a day and said, F it.
I
Like
love that you took the trip. Buy the shoes, eat the cake, take the trip. That's yeah. I love that you took the trip because it was so probably what you needed, you know? Yeah.
I
And
got to
thanks for
see so many.
sharing.
Yeah, thank you. I got to
I
see
know
so
that
many beautiful parts.
yeah, and I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing with you
Oh,
because
well,
I
I
can
have
only
a
imagine. And sometimes you have to have a sense of humor with things like this. If you can't have a sense of humor or with all the things that happened to you, me, us in life, these people in life, it's just life is hard sometimes and you got to be able to laugh it off.
Yes. Well, and that's where I say like it's like funny, but not it's a
Right.
different kind of funny. Like oh, this smells funny kind of funny versus like
Yeah.
a hoo ha ha maybe funny, but I do. I'm like I said, forgive young Ella, understand it. I'm very much like I own what I do, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that story might not sit well. I certainly imagine my boyfriend would hate that story and would not want me like out here like proclaiming it like look at what I did at one time. But I'm just such a believer that the truth will set you free, and it was an authentic moment of just living in the moment. And at the end of the day, like yeah, I took off my top, but I caved into the peer pressure of hundreds of people chatting on me, and you can't tell me you would do different.
I seriously think you like they could write a really good rom-com about this entire based off this one most memorable travel story, Ella. I think you should write it.
Well, I've
You
written
are a
one book,
writer.
so yeah, I've written one book, and I will say the second book will be a lot more personal anecdotes like this. The first book was kind of like a trial and error, like, let me just do a professional book so I'm less worried about the backlash and just figuring out how to publish a book.
Yeah.
The second book, it's like, okay, now I know how to publish a book. Let's let her rip. Like, it's
Yeah.
gonna definitely have a lot more of those personal anecdotes.
Well, and you had a specific purpose with the first book. You know, it was
Yeah.
for a different purpose and need in the market. This one would be more of, yeah, like funny, like a rom-com, you know.
Yeah, maybe
Uh,
a
yeah, did
fiction.
I mention rom-com? Because I keep saying it.
Love it.
Wink, wink, eyebrow lift. Well, Ella, that's great. Guys, if you love this travel story, check out our next episode for another most memorable travel story. Catch you next time.